And it's finally here, the last stage, Planet Wisp, our representative of Sonic Colors, the most recent Sonic game, aside from this one. Came out on the Wii, I believe it was 2010, I think? This game came out in 2011, so yeah, 2010, right around the same time. It was a sort of a change in pace in terms of most Sonic games there. Actually, I guess not really. What they did with this game was they implemented a gimmick that included these power-ups that you'll see right here. This is the Spike power-up, which is the only power-up classic Sonic is able to use for this stage. They utilized these power-ups that gave you a little bit of variety in terms of the level design without sort of costing you all that speed that you want to keep with. They really helped improve the gameplay a lot, and they were also really well received by reviewers. At least most of them were. My favorite one actually happened to be the Frenzy plant, or the Frenzy Wisp, just because it was just like the biggest om-nom like power-up Sonic has ever tried. And so this level, 2D version of the Planet Wisp stage, a lot of the Planet Wisp stage in the original Wii version was very like, you know, starting off in this beautiful planet, then going straight into this factory kind of setting. Whereas, actually no, this one sort of follows that same suit, whereas the modern Sonic goes a little bit outside of the factory a little bit more often. And this stage in particular, I don't particularly enjoy the Planet Wisp stages, because they're very long. They're supposed to be like, you know, the final stages, and they tend to be very confusing, lots of different things, not a whole lot of recognizable points in the actual level. They're, you know, standard about 5 minutes in length each, and there's so many different paths you can take. I honestly can't like remember like what paths I'm supposed to take in order to actually progress forward. I don't know whether or not I'm actually on a shortcut or I'm on the basic path at any really given point, and so I can't really say much about, you know, how to actually do this level properly, because it's confusing for me. It's that one level that you just can never figure out, and that would be the final level for me. Although not as bad as, you know, Eggman Land in Sonic Unleashed. This level, you know, really fits it pretty well, and it still gives you that sort of challenge. Even though I don't believe I die in this level, which is surprising considering I died a whole lot in Crisis City. Looking at Spike in particular, Spike is very similar to sort of the spin dash feature of, you know, the classic Sonic games. It also is very reminiscent of Knuckles' ability to sort of cling on that walls. And what a lot of people said that about these sort of powers that they gave Sonic is that Sega was sort of testing for you know, different ways they can utilize Sonic's pals, like Knuckles using like maybe the Frenzy or the Spike power-up, and you know, Tails with like the sort of hover ability, and then Rocket being, you know, maybe Tails, maybe Knuckles, I don't know. But people thought it was could very well be Sega's way of testing and seeing if they can implement these characters, because for the past, I don't know, 5 years, it's all just been, check this out, you only have to play as Sonic, you don't have to play as any other characters. The only game to actually implement characters in the actual storyline was Black Knight, and you didn't even have to play as those characters if you didn't want to. This game does have those Amigo missions. Why am I saying Amigo missions? That's sort of Sonic 6. Those sort of character pal missions, but you don't really get to play as the character. You sometimes can activate their powers with a button, but not exactly playing as them. And I personally love playing as those other characters in Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2, and even Heroes. Those are like, you know, really fun to play as, at least most of them. In Sonic Adventure 1, Tails and Knuckles. Tails was really fun because you get to skip all the levels whenever you want. It's a very fun mechanic, even though it's really broken. Knuckles was, you know, pretty fun. SA1 is pretty fun to play as with the Find It missions, because they make sense. And then in SA2 they sort of just repeat the same exact thing, and they kind of downgraded as well, but it's not horrible. You know, Shadow gameplay is pretty much exactly like Sonic's, except for, you know, a little bit more intense. And you know, The only real problem with those characters was, you know, like characters like Big, which is like really broken fishing mechanics, which people said was just so that people could get more of out of Sega bass fishing for whatever reason. And then there was like Amy, who was just kind of Metal Gear Amy. That's all I remember from it. Anyway, stage over. These are long stages. I'm pretty much just going to be talking about other things besides the actual stage, because I can't really talk much about it. Now we get to move on to the modern version. The modern version, so close to the original version, in the fact that, you know, these games were released a year apart, there really wasn't much they can do with this, besides, you know, make it HD and bring about some of the faults that were in the original. The power-up you get in this thing is the rocket power-up, which propels you upward very quickly. And the main part of this stage that I really love is the fact that they spend so much time in the outside planet, not the actual factory part. And that's the best part of the stage for me. This like gorgeous landscape. Look at all that. I mean, and the music is just, it sets the stage really well for this level until it gets into like, you know, the rock and roll section, which the factory sort of fits a lot better. And this is the only stage in this entire game that I have not S-ranked the Doppelganger. I could not figure it out. Like, I spent like maybe 4 or 5 hours trying to Doppelganger this level. Doppelganger is one of those challenge missions that you can do where it's just basically time trial and you have to beat it in a certain amount of time. I don't know why they even implement the Doppelganger. It's just time trial. The Doppelganger doesn't matter at all. You just need to beat it in a certain amount of time. And the Doppelganger is basically like a ghost. And so this level, you're speeding through this beautiful landscape. It's a lot more than you did in the Wii version, which I really loved. And the Wii version, I wanted to go outside a lot more, but they, you know, spent so much time in the factory. Which, I don't know, they had plenty of time, like, in that kind of thing. I really wanted more of this outside world. And they gave it to you in this 360 version, or the Generations version. And they really implemented really well with, you know, the 2D and the 3D. And in order to actually get good times in the stage, you pretty much have to hit these shortcut points, because they will cost you so much time, and you have to do a lot of ridiculous, like, platforming. Like right here, if you don't hit that point, you're pretty much not in the right spot, and you'll have to climb up those platforms over there, whereas here, I'm like a lot more higher up. But now we get into the actual factory part of the stage, which is a lot of 2D platforming, which I don't particularly care for in this section of the game, this area, because a lot of it is very punishing, where if you miss one small platform here, you're pretty much down to the bottom level for the rest of the stage. There's not a whole lot of time to catch up. Like, I believe it's right here, a little bit higher up. Right off to the left, I think. Where if you... Actually, what is that platform for? I can't even tell what that platform to the left is. I think I go over there, at least try to go over there. Oh, it's for a red ring. Okay. Whatever. And so, I really love the track this thing. It's one of my favorite tracks from Sonic Colors. And I'm really glad they picked this stage out of all the other stages. So this is the stage I really wanted to see. And it obviously is one of those. All the Sonic Color stages were really great. A lot of them very memorable with great music. Aquatic Park, you know, Sweet Sweet Mountain, Asteroid Coaster was pretty awesome, and Starlight Carnival on the Wii. Starlight Carnival was like the most amazing like graphics I've ever seen on the Wii. Going through that thing, it's like it was amazing. But I'm pretty sure that was all just sort of a smoke and mirror type of thing with the Wii, not actually like real graphical rendering. But I think we're heading on to the last section, which is sort of like the main section of frustration for this level, which is these the sort of cart mechanics. We have to land on these carts, and if you don't land on them properly, you fall to the very bottom. You have to kind of climb your way back up. And so hitting these carts on the mark is very important in order to get the best time on this level. I do a pretty good job in this run through of getting through them, but there are some points when I just sort of go around in circles trying to get back up there. If you like get up to the high points and then fall down, you could end up back at the bottom, and it's really frustrating and annoying. Especially since you can't really lock onto these platforms, you have to sort of time your jumps really well in order to get onto them. And sections like here, it's really hard to, you know, predict when the actual platform is coming through, and so, you know, you might mistime your jump if you're not too careful. Like here, I mean, they give you the egg robots, but some of them sometimes they don't have it, especially if you're going through that sort of little jumping point, which is a classic platforming challenge. There's no longer a robot in there to lock onto, so it's really difficult to actually get onto that cart the second time after you've already gone through it. And they do implement the rocket quite a lot of times in order to get you up. It's all pretty much 2D from here. You're sort of wrapping yourself around this giant tower that you're sort of climbing upwards. And for me, I'm getting lag on here. I don't know if the video will actually show lag, but right now I'm getting lag, so it's hard to really see what's happening. And as far as Sonic Colors go, it was one of the best Sonic games in a long time, and it's basically where I consider like the start of Sonic's sort of revival into video games. Now it's really lagging. I really hope it's not the real video. But yeah, it's sort of Sonic's revival into like video games as being a more respected character instead of just being, oh, Sonic's just crap now. But you know, if they do decide to make a sequel to Sonic Colors, I'm all for it. It was a really fun game to play, and I hope they implement new powers and you know take it to like another level. I do hear that there's rumors of a Wii U exclusive Sonic game known as Sonic Dimensions, where you get to play as a bunch of different types of Sonics with different like abilities each. Like one's more power oriented, one I believe has sort of silver-like powers, Silver the Hedgehog. And you know, if they do that, that's fine with me. I'd probably get it if I end up getting the Wii U, which I probably will end up getting the Wii U. And we are pretty much done with the level. Actually, we are done with the level. We just have to climb up these platforms. And that's it. I don't believe I died at all, but I did not get through that very fast. Actually, oh, hey, look at that. That's rank. I didn't even think I was getting that. I thought I got a B rank on this. Was it, or is that rooftop run? I can't even remember. The ranking system really doesn't matter. It doesn't unlock anything for you except for maybe some extras in the art gallery. But there you go. With that, we have now got this nice little cutscene. Howdy. Howdy. Howdy.
Dude, there's the emerald!
Over-exaggerated animations from Sega Team. Sonic Team, not Sega Team. Honestly, I can't tell. Were they trying to race there, or was it just, let's go get the emerald?
Pretty slick move, huh?
Sonic is quite pleased. And we rescued Charmy the Bee, who's not so charming.
I was scared because somebody took me, but now I'm free! I'm a
God, that level with Shadow and Shadow the Hedgehog with Charmy the Bee. Oh my god, that was the worst level. Sonic's not impressed.
Oh, hey!
Charmy, you weren't even in this game, unless you were on the DS version. I don't know Sonic Colors. Because I know they changed that up. They added a lot of the other characters. Anyway, next time we're going to take on the rival boss and the actual boss. See ya.